Once upon a time, in a quaint little town, nestled between rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a woman named Adaeze. Adaeze was a kind-hearted soul with a gentle demeanor, and she had 2 daughters whom she cherished dearly. Her biological daughter was named Amara, a girl with striking beauty and an air of arrogance that seemed to surround her wherever she went. Adaeze also had a stepdaughter named Nnena, who possessed a quiet grace and a heart filled with kindness. Despite the difference in their personalities, Adaeze loved both her daughters equally and treated them with the utmost care and affection. She believed in raising them to be respectful, responsible, and compassionate individuals, regardless of their differences. Adaeze made sure to instill in both Amara and Nnena the importance of empathy and understanding towards others, teaching them to always lend a helping hand to those in need. Through her guidance and unwavering love, she hoped to mold them into strong, independent women who would make a positive impact on the world around them. Amara, however, seemed to have a mind of her own. She was headstrong and often let her pride get the best of her. She had a habit of speaking rudely to her elders and disregarding their advice. Despite her mother's efforts to instill good values in her, Amara remained defiant, convinced that her beauty and charm were enough to get her through life. Amara's rebellious nature often led to conflict within her family, as she refused to conform to societal norms. Her independent spirit and strong-willed personality made it difficult for her to accept guidance from others. On the other hand, Nnena was the epitome of obedience and hard work. She never complained and always lent a helping hand whenever needed. Her quiet demeanor hid a fierce determination to succeed and make her family proud. She respected her elders and followed their guidance diligently, earning her mother's admiration and respect. As the years passed, Adaeze watched with a heavy heart as Amara's behavior worsened. Her daughter's prideful nature seemed to grow stronger with each passing day, causing rifts within the family. Despite her disappointments, Adaeze continued to love Amara unconditionally, hoping that someday she would realize the error of her ways. Meanwhile, Nnena continued to thrive, excelling in her studies and winning the hearts of everyone she met with her kindness and humility. Adaeze often found herself marveling at Nnena's resilience and strength of character, grateful to have such a wonderful daughter by her side. One fateful day, tragedy struck the family when Adaeze fell ill and was confined to her bed. As she lay weak and frail, it was Nnena who stepped up to take care of her, tending to her every need with unwavering devotion. Despite her illness, Adaeze's heart swelled with pride as she watched Nnena selflessly caring for her, proving once again that she was truly a daughter to be proud of. Amidst the challenges they faced, life in the little town continued its usual rhythm. However, fate had a curious way of testing the characters of its inhabitants, and one day, it presented itself in the form of an old woman dressed in tattered rags. The woman shuffled through the dusty streets, her eyes downcast and her hands outstretched in silent supplication. When she reached the doorstep of Adaeze's home, hope flickered in her weary gaze as she pleaded for a morsel of food to ease her hunger. Nnena, ever compassionate, heard the woman's plea and immediately sprang into action. With a kind smile, she invited the old man inside and set about preparing a meal for her. Her heart brimming with empathy, Nnena ensured that the woman was fed and comfortable before bidding her farewell with a warm embrace. However, as Nnena attended to the old woman, Amara's disdainful gaze fell upon the scene unfolding before her. Unable to comprehend her stepsister's kindness towards a stranger, Amara's prideful nature reared its ugly head once more. In a fit of arrogance, Amara approached the old woman with a haughty tone, scorned her for daring to seek help from her household. She mocked the woman's ragged appearance and shooed her away with cruel words, causing the poor soul to flee in shame. Nnena, witnessing the entire exchange, felt her heart sink with sadness. She couldn't fathom her stepsister's careless behavior and the pain it inflicted upon the old woman. Without a moment's hesitation, Nnena gathered what little food she could spare and rushed after the woman, determined to right the wrong that had been done. Finding the old woman sitting forlornly by the roadside, Nnena approached her with gentle reassurance. With tears in her eyes, she offered the woman the food she had brought, apologizing profusely for her stepsister's behavior and promising to make amends. Touched by Nnena's sincerity and kindness, the old woman bestowed upon her a warm smile and blessed her for her generosity. In that moment, Nnena felt a sense of peace wash over her, knowing that she had made a difference in someone's life. In the days that followed, Nnena found herself drawn to the old woman's humble abode, nestled at the edge of the town. Despite the simplicity of the dwelling, it exuded a sense of warmth and comfort that welcomed Nnena with open arms. With each visit, Nnena and the old woman forged a deep bond, their friendship blossoming amidst shared stories and heartfelt conversations. Nnena listened intently as the old woman recounted tales of her youth, offering wisdom that transcended generations. In return, Nnena shared her hopes and dreams, finding solace in the old woman's gentle guidance and unwavering support. News of the quest to find the prince a bride, which was a tradition of the land, spread like wildfire throughout the town. Excitement and anticipation filled the air. Young maidens adorned themselves in their finest attire, eager to catch the eye of the royal suitor and win his favor. Among them, whispers of admiration and longing echoed, but Nnena remained conspicuously absent from the throng of hopefuls. Despite the urging of her peers and the allure of a life within the palace walls, Nnena's heart remained steadfast in its devotion to her secret lover. Saddened by Nnena's decision to abstain from the royal selection, the old woman could not help but feel a pang of disappointment. She had hoped to see Nnena find happiness and security in the arms of a prince, believing it to be the ultimate fulfillment of her dreams. With a heavy heart, the old woman confronted Nnena, her eyes brimming with unspoken sorrow. She pleaded with Nnena to reconsider her decision, fearing that her refusal to participate in the selection would only lead to regret and missed opportunities. But Nnena, unwavering in her resolve, gently reassured the old woman of her unwavering love for her secret beau. She explained that her heart belonged to another, someone whose love transcended titles and royal decrees. Though the old woman understood Nnena's reasoning, her heart ached at the thought of a beloved friend forsaking a chance at a life of luxury and privilege. Nevertheless, she respected Nnena's choice and vowed to support her no matter what path she chose to tread. As the days passed, and the anticipation surrounding the prince's selection reached its zenith, Nnena remained steadfast in her decision, while others busied themselves with preparations and whispered secrets of love and belonging. Nnena found solace in the arms of her beloved, cherishing each moment they shared together. And as the day of the royal selection dawned, Nnena stood firm in her convictions, content in the knowledge that her true love would always triumph over worldly pursuits. As the day of the final stage of the selection dawned, the town buzzed with anticipation and excitement. The air was thick with tension as the remaining contestants prepared themselves for the ultimate test, the Queen's assessment. Amara, adorned in regal attire, befitting a queen, radiated with confidence and pride as she strutted through the grand hall. Her victories in the preceding competitions fueled a sense of superiority. With each triumph, her arrogance swelled, and she took every opportunity to belittle her competitors, particularly Nnena. With a sneer upon her lips, Amara taunted Nnena mercilessly, mocking her for her devotion to her secret lover. She scoffed at the notion of true love, dismissing it as a frivolous fantasy fit only for fools. In Amara's eyes, the pursuit of a prince and promise of wealth and status far outweighed any fleeting romance. But Nnena remained steadfast in her convictions, her love unwavering, and her spirit unbroken. Though Amara's words stung like arrows, she refused to let them pierce her resolve. With the old man's words of encouragement echoing in her ears, Nnena stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Queen's assessment commenced, the contestants were subjected to a series of tests designed to evaluate their intellect, grace, and moral character. Amara, with her quick wit and charm, breezed through each challenge with ease, her confidence never faltering for a moment. As the final round approached, the tension in the hall reached its peak. The contestants, including Amara, stood poised and confident, eager to prove themselves worthy of the prince's hand in marriage. Yet, little did they know, fate had a surprise in store for them. As the grand doors of the Queen's hut swung open, all eyes turned towards the figure that emerged. Gasps of astonishment rippled through the crowd as they beheld the unexpected sight before them. The old woman, who had once begged for food at Adaeze's doorstep, now transformed into a vision of elegance and grace. Amara's eyes widened in disbelief as she recognized the woman who had been the object of her scorn and derision. Her prideful demeanor faltered, replaced by a sense of shock and realization. Amidst the murmurs of the crowd, the Queen stepped forward, her gaze unwavering as she addressed the assembled maidens. With a voice filled with authority, she revealed the truth behind the old woman's disguise. A test devised to uncover the true character of those who sought the prince's hand in marriage. The Queen explained that while many had been quick to judge and reject the old woman in her time of need, only one had shown her kindness and compassion without hesitation. That one person was Nnena, whose unwavering generosity and humility had touched the Queen's heart. As the Queen's words echoed through the hall, Amara's heart sank with a sense of remorse and regret. She realized the gravity of her actions and the consequences of her prideful behavior. But amidst the solemn realization, a deeper sadness weighed upon the Queen's heart. For despite Nnena's undeniable virtue and compassion, the Queen knew that Nnena's heart was already spoken for, bound to another in a love that transcended kingdoms and crowns. As the truth unfolded before the gathered crowd, a somber silence enveloped the hall. The queen, burdened by the weight of her decision, struggled to reconcile the conflicting desires of her heart. She longed to see Nnena marry her son the prince. Yet, she knew that true love could not be forced or manipulated. With a heavy heart, the queen made a difficult decision. She announced that none of the contestants would be chosen as the bride for her son, the prince. The revelation left the assembled maidens stunned. Their hopes dashed in an instant, as murmurs of confusion and disappointment rippled through the crowd. The queen explained her decision. She revealed that while Nnena had shown true compassion and kindness, her heart was already bound to another. And as for the other contestants, their actions and motivations during the selection process had revealed flaws in their characters that rendered them unfit to marry into the royal family. Amara, her pride shattered by the queen's words, could only watch in silent resignation as her dreams of royal grandeur crumbled around her. She realized the folly of her arrogance and the consequences of her actions, regret weighing heavily upon her heart. But amidst the chaos and despair, one person remained strangely calm: the prince himself. With a serene smile upon his lips, he stepped forward to address the queen and gathered the maidens. In a voice filled with warmth and sincerity, the prince thanked the queen for her wisdom and guidance. He expressed the gratitude for the opportunity to meet the various contestants and learn from their experiences. But he confessed that his heart had already found its match. The prince revealed that he had long admired someone from afar, a woman whose beauty radiated from within, and whose kindness knew no bounds. And though she may not be of noble birth or royal lineage, she held his heart in her hands. Her love lighting up his world in ways he could never have imagined. Upon hearing the prince's words, the queen's heart swelled with pride and joy. She realized that her son had indeed found true love, a love that transcended titles and kingdoms. With a gentle smile, the queen turned to her son, the prince, and spoke with a voice filled with warmth and authority. "My dear son," she began, "it is time for you to claim your bride and bring her here, to this ceremonial ground where all are gathered." The prince's eyes sparkled with anticipation as he nodded in understanding. Immediately, the prince gathered his guards and made his way to Nnena's humble home on the outskirts of the town. As they approached, Nnena was surprised to see the prince, accompanied by his entourage. She greeted them with a warm smile, unaware of the true identity of her beloved. With a gentle hand, the prince revealed his true self to Nnena, explaining his royal lineage and the reason behind his disguise. Nnena stood in shock, her heart racing with a mixture of disbelief and joy. Never in her wildest dream had she ever imagined that her secret love was none other than the prince himself. Overwhelmed by emotion, Nnena took a moment to collect herself before accepting the prince's outstretched hand. With tears of happiness in her eyes, she followed him back to the palace, her heart overflowing with love and gratitude. As they arrived at the ceremonial ground, the assembled crowd gasped in astonishment at the sight of Nnena accompanying the prince. Whispers of curiosity and excitement spread like wildfire throughout the crowd as they watched the prince and Nnena approach the queen. As the prince and Nnena approached the queen, both the queen and Nnena were shocked to see each other. Nnena's eyes widened in disbelief as she realized that the old woman she had befriended was none other than the queen herself. The memories of the encounters flooded back to her, and she felt a mix of astonishment and gratitude. Similarly, the queen was taken aback as she recognized Nnena, the kind-hearted young woman who had shown compassion to her when she was disguised as an old beggar. Realization dawned upon her as she saw Nnena with her son, the prince, and she understood that the secret lover Nnena had spoken of long ago was none other than her own son. A sense of wonder filled the air as the truth unfolded before them. The queen looked at Nnena with newfound admiration, impressed by her kindness and humility in the face of adversity. She realized that Nnena possessed the qualities of a true princess, far surpassing those of noble birth or royal lineage. With tears of joy in her eyes, the queen embraced Nnena warmly, welcoming her into the royal family with open arms. She knew in her heart that Nnena was the perfect match for her son, the prince, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude towards her for bringing love and happiness into their lives. As the prince and Nnena stood before the queen, their love shining brightly for all to see, the queen addressed the assembled crowd with a voice filled with pride and joy. "My dear subjects," she began, "today is a day of great celebration, for we have witnessed the power of love to overcome all obstacles. It is with great pleasure that I announce the union of my son, the prince, and his beloved Nnena." The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, their hearts filled with happiness for the royal couple. Amidst the jubilant festivities, the prince and Nnena exchanged vows of love and devotion, pledging to stand by each other's side through thick and thin. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land, the prince and Nnena danced beneath the starry sky, their hearts overflowing with love and gratitude. And as they embraced each other tightly, they knew that they were destined to live happily ever after, in a kingdom where true love reigned supreme. In the midst of all the celebration and joy, Amara stood up to the side, her heart heavy with regret and sorrow, as she watched the prince and Nnena exchange vows of love. A sense of longing washed over her, tinged with bitterness at her own actions. For the first time in her life, Amara felt the weight of her pride and arrogance bearing down upon her. She realized with a pang of remorse how her behavior had alienated those around her, including her own family. The memory of her cruel words to the old woman haunted her, and she wished she could turn back time and make amends. Kindness and compassion transcend social status. Nnena's act of kindness towards the old woman, regardless of her social standing, highlights the importance of treating others with empathy and compassion, regardless of their background or circumstances. Pride leads to downfall. Amara's pride and arrogance ultimately led to her downfall. Her disrespectful behavior towards others, including the old woman, brings about her own regret and sorrow. The story emphasizes the negative consequences of pride and the importance of humility. True love knows no boundaries. Nnena's unwavering love for a secret girl, despite societal expectations and pressures, demonstrates that true love transcends external factors such as social status or titles. The story celebrates the power of love to overcome obstacles and unite people from different walks of life. Actions speak louder than words. The characters' actions throughout the story speaks volumes about their true character. While Amara's words were filled with arrogance and disdain, Nnena's actions reflect a kindness, humility, and strength of character. The story underscores the importance of demonstrating virtue through one's actions rather than mere words. Forgiveness and redemption. The story highlights the importance of forgiveness and redemption. Despite her past mistakes, there is hope for Amara to change and grow from her experiences. The story suggests that it is never too late to seek forgiveness, make amends, and strive to become a better person. Family bonds and loyalty. The story emphasizes the importance of family bonds and loyalty. Despite their differences, Adaeze's love for both her daughters remains unwavering. Similarly, Nnena's loyalty to family and her secret love underscores the significance of standing by those we care about, even in the face of adversity. These moral lessons serve as valuable reminders of universal truths that can guide individuals towards leading more compassionate, humble, and fulfilling lives.